talking the hardest. Gigs better pop up in your thoughts as an artist. Jeez. Taught in the market, everybody wants to know where walking the park is. Walking the party, sporting the money. Half of the crowds all snorting my Charlie. Sorted the bar, time to sort the banani.
Welcome to KangBrosTV. AJ has just defeated Parker in 12 rounds. No shock to us whatsoever. And I think it was a great professional performance from AJ. I think he showed a lot of things in this fight today that a lot of people were doubting him about. So where should we start with this fight? I mean, were you shocked by this? And there's a lot of people saying that we don't know what we're talking about. I'm going
to jump straight in and I'm going to go straight at the deep end and say, told you. Because listen, a lot of people have a lot of things to say. Oh yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, haven't watched this. You don't know that. You know, knowledge is this. Listen, from the get-go, we both really like Parker. You know, from the way he is as a person, the kind of guy the way he goes about his business. Massively. You know, what he's done. And he really grew on me since I've actually started following all of this build-up, right, a bit more.
There was people who actually, halfway in the build-up, you know what? I'm actually going to go for Parker this fight. Because they actually bought into the guy and the whole movement, right?
Right. But the thing is, from the get-go, all I've said is, and it's not a case of just because he's English or because he's a UK fighter or we love him up or anything like that. Listen, the guy's he's just won 4 belts. He's got 4 belts in the division, right? He's undefeated. This is the first time he has won a fight without knocking somebody out. So there's going to be something to say that he's actually quite good, right? So all we've said from the get-go is, can we see who's going to win the fight? Give our predictions, and it's going to be Joshua. But we put it out there to people and say, for people that think that we don't know what we're talking about or we're wrong, we would love to know how you think, from your opinion, from your experience, how Parker's going to win that fight. That's
all we asked.
And nobody could say he was going to do this, or this is kind of that type of fight it's going to be. All people say is he's going to knock him out. He's going to knock him out. Get real. Look at the size of Mitty. That's what I'm saying. It's not like, AJ's never going to lose a fight. Listen, AJ can lose a fight, just like your next man, right? No one thought Klitschko was going to get beat by Fury, but he did. Right, so that's just, these things happen in boxing, but it's a case of how do you see it happening? Is it a puncher's chance, or was he going to outwork him, or was he going to try and tie him up, or was he going to try, was he going to work on the inside and then get his work done and get out? Is he going to try and slip the right and then overhand right? What was it that you thought that he was going to do? And I don't think we were proved right. We were proved right in what we thought.
Yeah, I mean the video was called "There's Levels to This Shit," and what I meant by that was that I just don't see what Parker had in his arsenal to actually defeat Parker. And that's just like my brother touched on there. That's all it is. And so when we look at people like the likes of Wilder, Fury, we got things there you think, you know what, that could actually trouble AJ. So that's what I'm saying. We're not on this. People talk about this AJ bandwagon. The guy's got 4 belts. He's undefeated. I'm not saying that this guy's unbeatable, but there is a bandwagon there.
Yeah, but it's not even a bandwagon. It's fact. This is factual information. It's not a bandwagon. Oh yeah, because he's English. It's nothing like that. A lot of people think it's because we're British and we're going to follow him. No, it's not. He's the best. Like Mayweather was the best at his division. I'm not saying he's the same level as Mayweather, but Mayweather, you can hate him or you can like him, but you can't deny the fact that no one's ever beat him. Deontay Wilder is a world champion. You cannot deny the fact that he's unbeaten. You can't deny that fact. This guy is undefeated. He's got 4 of the belts in the division. So it's not a bandwagon, and it's not someone blowing smoke up his ass. He seems to be doing that himself. Do you know what I mean? You put someone in front of him and he seems to knock them out. So, as I said, a lot of respect for Parker, and he's clearly a very good fighter. He's 26 years old. The way he's evading shots. You could see that amateur pedigree coming in. You could see shots coming, slipping them shots, evading that, being hard to hit. He knew that AJ's right hand was going to be one of his biggest threats. Didn't let AJ land that right once, or maybe a handful of times.
As soon as that jab came through, you could see Parker was ready for that right and ready to slip it or whatever.
He's happy to take a left, to take that jab, knowing that, okay, here comes the right, and that's my chance to counter.
Yeah.
There's a game plan there. Unfortunately, he couldn't execute it. Nothing's changed in my mind. Did I think Parker was going to win this fight? I didn't. Not for 1 second. I didn't believe he was. I didn't believe he wasn't going to win that fight. And all I asked was for people to say to me, if you think he is going to lose the fight, tell me how.
Yeah, and that was it. For the first 4 to 5 rounds, we both looked at each other and thought, you know what, AJ hasn't even got out of gear 1. He literally hadn't. And then there was a few rounds in the middle there. I thought, you know what, Parker's slowly maybe trying to get himself into it. And I think, like we said there, AJ proved a lot of these doubters, shall I say, wrong. They were saying that he was going to gas. He's got a glass chin. Where does this even come from, this glass chin? Like, he's been rocked, he's got up. Right? And you said yourself about a glass chin is something completely different. Do you know what I mean? If someone can't take a punch.
Listen, a glass chin is someone, unfortunately, as much as we like the bloke, and we were really hoping that we'd win. But a glass chin is probably someone like Price. Unfortunately, it was hard to watch that because we were going crazy, we were going nuts when he got the knockdown, right, for Vecchia. We were going nuts. But that chin, if he gets tapped, if he gets clocked, he's going down. Unfortunately, that's what happened. That for me is a glass jaw.
So after the fight finished, 12 rounds, who did you think out of the fighters looked like I wouldn't say any of them were gassed out, but which one looked like the most worn out?
Well, it's simple as this. You can tell George Groves is a prime example for it. When you know that he's in the later rounds, his mouth is open, his bottom lip falls, and it's not nothing to say that he's not fit, because they're obviously super fit guys to be able to do what they've done. But Parker was the one that you looked at. His mouth was open. He got caught. His eyes were starting to swell up, and he got cut because he was getting caught a bit more frequently. And he was the one that was tiring. Did I think Joshua was gassing? Absolutely not. I reckon Joshua could have fought another 5-6 rounds quite comfortably. Just because the way he skipped out of his off of his seat. The only thing that annoyed me a little bit was the way that the commentary was so biased towards him. It was
so biased.
It was actually quite cringeworthy, and it was a little bit like, oh, fucking hell, come on, Frotch, do you know what I mean? Chill out, turn it down a little bit, boy. But it was just like, for the first 4 rounds, you'd think that if you'd, just caught the end of every round and just heard Frotch and the other commentator talk, you'd think that Park had been down 3 or 4 times, but he hadn't. So it was quite biased in that sense.
Yeah, I think you're right there, because even in the first 4 rounds, everyone's kept talking about, how Parker can't find he can't find the right distance, can't find the reach, he can't even get anywhere close to him. AJ's so good at the moment from where he's at. But the thing is, AJ hadn't really done anything that dominant in that part of the fight just then. Yes, he was in control, and like we said, we wasn't fearful that he was going to lose a fight at all. But he hadn't really done so much himself that to dictate, I guess, to win all the rounds.
And
easily.
that's it. And I think that there was a couple of stages through that fight. We were a bit like, oh, did he catch him? And it wasn't like we were saying, oh, this is Parker to Joshua. We were like, oh, did he catch him? Because it was that a dominant performance, I felt, from Joshua. He knew his range, he had a game plan, and I think he showed the other side of his reputation. He's not just a banger. He's not just someone who'll go in and try and take people out. If the opportunity presents itself, he will take it. Today, I actually felt that the knockout was very unlikely, because Parker was very elusive, and also he can take a shot. He took some digs, but didn't look like he was going to get rocked. So I thought it showed the other side of his arsenal, that he doesn't have to go in there and try and wipe somebody out. You can actually box and stick to a game plan, and apply that pressure.
You can see why this guy, like they say, he's never been put to the canvas, and you can see why today, like you say, he took some big shots, and some other guys would have gone by then. And that was one thing that I'll say to all the Kiwi fans and all the Parker fans, and even your boy crackhead Higgins. Like, even he said, this guy's got a jaw in him, and hats off to Parker. And I think, like you said, the public, everyone in England, started to love the guy. Do you know what I mean? And I've got nothing against him. I think for his future as well. What do you think about his future going forward? For me, he needs to lose that crackhead. For me, that's not the right promoter now. He's gotten to where he's at. I think now is another level. He's proven that he can mix it with the best. I wouldn't say he's obviously going to ever beat the likes of Wilder and AJ and things like that. But he's proved that he can mix it there. So what do you think's next for him personally?
I think he needs to, being what side of the world he is, and being based in New Zealand and stuff, I think he needs to try and concentrate on probably being a bit more active in America. Getting on one of those promoters' cards, Golden Boy or something like that. And
Eddie Hearn?
Well, I was going to say Eddie Hearn would be great for him. I think it would be a brilliant person, because Eddie Hearn is just like a bit of a Del boy, isn't he? Salesman. He knows how to pick the best parts of a fighter and sell it. He never focuses too much on their weaknesses. Everyone's got weaknesses, but he always picks on the positives and stuff. And I think with the crop of the heavyweights that we've got in the UK, it's probably a good route is to use Eddie Hearn. But I think he does need to separate himself from the other guy, because as my brother touched upon, he can turn around and say, look, I've got you into a world champion. I made you a world champion. Got you in fights, and I got you the biggest payday of your life. 2 paydays, because I'm sure Huey Fury payday was probably quite good, and then he's topped it stupidly with this fight. He's only 26 years old, so he's got the rest of his career ahead of him, and a loss now is probably going to make him better because of the experience he gets from it. But I do think he needs to separate himself from that guy, because it kind of gives off a very amateurish approach.
That's what I was going to say. You mentioned that, like, about Eddie Hearn. I don't think Eddie Hearn's a Del boy. I think he's Eddie Hearn's here and Higgins is down there, and like you said, a bit amateurish, and he's got Kevin Barry in his corner, and we love that guy, right? His knowledge and how long he's been in the game, you can see that was going to be the biggest fear in this fight, was that knowledge that he could pass on to Parker at important times in the fight. So I think that partnership there is quality, and I just think that the change of promoter for him
would be good. The other thing we want to touch upon today after that fight was the referee.
Eddie Hearn. I don't know if you personally choose these referees, but where the fuck did you get this guy to get to him to referee this fight? Now, I know you said that he's actually got he's got history in doing some title fights, right? But for me, every time they got close into sort of fighting range, he blocked it off. Now, I don't know if Eddie's had a word in his ear to say, look, don't let this happen, because we know that was probably the biggest chance that Parker had. If you could get close up and clock AJ, we don't know what could have happened possibly. And that, it just didn't allow the fight to happen. So I think a lot of Parker fans would probably say that. I think they'll probably say the referee sort of helped AJ. I'm not saying that it would change the outcome, but...
It's a catch-22 really, because I think, firstly, I don't think it's Eddie Hearn that picks the referees. I think it's the boxing board of control that would allocate a referee and stuff like that. The guy's had 70 to 90 fights, I think 7 world title fights previously, which I actually think is quite light. I think you need someone like this. This is probably the biggest fight of the year so far, and it would take a lot to top that. The other one would have been Canelo and Triple G, but obviously Canelo's out there stabbing himself in the leg and that with contaminated meat and shit. But I think the referee was allocated. I don't think he was the right man for the job, but you never know if they've had a chat with him. But the catch-22 thing for me is that although I get that Parker's would have been like to do some work on the inside, that would have been good. But also Anthony Joshua has a killer uppercut.
Oh yeah, we saw that a few times.
If he stayed in there too long, don't get twisted. It would have obviously been something that he could have used in his advantage as well. But I just felt that the fight wasn't allowed to flow. Sometimes I felt he just got involved when there wasn't any need for him to try and break it up. They will untangle them, and they will work themselves out. Anthony Joshua's not stupid. He's been around the block. He's fought at obviously the world stage, and he's won Olympic gold. He knows what he's doing. If he knows the referee's on his side, in the sense that anytime he gets close, he's going to break it. As soon as he felt that Parker might be able to land a shot, he just, because he's taller than him, put his arms on him, pushed him down, break, and now get back at range, get back on the end of that jab. It was like holding a short person at arm's length, wasn't it? And he was swinging. He wasn't going to hit, and Joshua was just bashed him on the top of the head. That's what it looked like.
And that's when we go back to just as we started, the professional performance. He used his attributes to his advantage. The height was going to be it, the reach, and the power, I guess. But even, like you said, we didn't really see that power from Parker that people were talking of, just because, I guess, of his size. Now, to finish this whole sort of video up on that is, where does AJ go? I mean, that's the common question. And then I guess the guy in Sky Sports kept trying to get it out of him. He tried to tell him about 3 fucking times.
Saying that, before we go into this question, the other thing I will say is that the show itself, if I could sit down and have a cup of tea with Eddie Hearn, I'd be like, listen, firstly, as if he's going to sit down and have a chat with me, but I felt that I'd like to put it out to everybody else that watched the fight. I felt that the camera work was just so close. Everything was too close. Just come out a little bit. They've done it for years and years and years, and they've been successful doing it. They come out a little bit so you can actually get a proper gauge of what's going on. You can watch the fight properly. They kept trying to get so close into the fight. As soon as a ref takes a step to his left, and he's only doing his job, but he takes a step to the left and stands in front of the fight, or you find yourself trying to do that at the TV screen because you're trying to get round the ref. So I thought that was poor. It looked amateurish, because there was a few times that we were like, oh, did someone just get hit? I don't know, I can't tell because the camera is so shit. I can't see what's going on.
It's true, because if you look at some of the American fights that you watch at 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever, things like that, they're normally cut, you said, like further out. You can actually see what's going on. And there's a few times, even today, like the camera's literally behind AJ, and we were like, oh, has he been hit? We don't know, but it could have just been rolling his head, and we just didn't know what.
And then during the ring breaks, the round breaks, they're showing all these other angles. I'm thinking, fuck me, I wouldn't mind watching that in the fight. Do you know what I mean? But I thought that was amateurish. And the other thing was quite disappointing was the whole world's watching this fight, right? 87,000 or 80,000 people were in there. They said that they made sort of stupid amount of millions on pay-per-view sales. So they know that everyone's watching this fight, right? End of the fight. The Buffer was reading out the cards, and they're trying to grab the fighters. They're trying, oh, where is he? Fucking hell, we need you here because we've just got the result and we need you to, you know what I mean? Normally they get them in, there's a bit of time, they kind of set up a bit of tension, they both boxers are he's holding their arms, refs holding their arms. This was just like, this person said this much, this person said this many points, and the winner is the Pride of London, Anthony Joshua. Keep it moving. Do you know what I mean? It's like, we'll build it up, you know, and the new, unified, whatever. There's always, someone was going to be a new at some point, so build it up, play on that. I just felt it was just the show. It just seemed to, those little aspects were slightly amateurish, and it's disappointing really because if you're going to give it the big end and say, oh, we ain't going nowhere, and finally we've got the British boxing is on the up, that's fine and that's all good, and you are selling at 80,000, which is brilliant. But you put on an amateur show like that, and certain aspects of it like that, if you're viewing it, you're thinking, well, why the hell are you going to go and put a show on in the UK when their camera works shit? Then no one was buzzing at the end. There was no build up to it, no excitement. I just thought it's a bit, that was my only disappointment with it really. I mean, don't get me wrong, the quality of fights and undercard was good, but it's just a bit like it could be better, should be better.
So, like we said, next fight for AJ. Now, for me, Deontay, where you at? Where were you? I don't care about all this nonsense about, oh, you weren't being allowed in the ring. We're fans of boxing, him and me. We would want to see you there. Dylan White, he just showed his face. He didn't go into the ring. He didn't shout his mouth off. He was there outside of the ring because that was the biggest event happening in heavyweight boxing. I don't care what the deal was, whether you had with Matchroom or whatnot. Just being there would have made a huge difference. Yes or no?
100%. I actually think that, listen, there's going to be people watching this who are Wilder fans and think, again, oh, we're on the Anthony Joshua bandwagon. Listen, if Wilder had 4 belts and Anthony Joshua weren't there, I'd be saying the same shit, saying, Joshua, that's bullshit. Because if you claim to be this big gun and you want to call all the shots, you got to be there. You've got to be there. Tyson Fury went to Alabama whenever he fought. I think it was in Alabama. He jumped in the ring and had that chat and had that confrontation. That sold that potential fight with those two. He was like, oh yeah, I'm not coming because I want to come in the ring and that sort of stuff. AJ's right. You don't come into my ring that if I'm fighting on my card. You don't. It's just not done. But of course you're going to call him in. Of course you would. It's just natural. I think he just shows that he's a bit of a diva. And to be honest, it goes against everything that he's trying to say in the media and actually backs up everything that Eddie Hearn's been saying about them not wanting the fight.
But the thing is, for me, like you said about going to the ring, does it really matter that you go into the ring? Say, back in the old days when you just saw the camera and you saw the possible opponent and you just sat there
and
smiling.
Goes nuts,
yeah, thinking like, oh, the fight could be happening. That's all you want to see. Just be there. For you not to even be there, for me, that is a joke on behalf of you and your PR team.
But don't you think that it backs up what Eddie Hearn's trying to say? Even if Eddie Hearn's chatting shit, which he might be, we all know that he loves to spin a story.
Yeah.
But if you don't turn around and say, oh, we want this fight, you're so keen on having this fight, and you don't turn up to the fight, to this event, which is the biggest event. But if you are anybody in the heavyweight division, you'll be there. Povetkin was fighting tonight. And he's a big heavyweight. Dillian White was there. Joshua's fighting and Parker's fighting. All the belts would have been in that one arena, and you ain't there. For me, it just shows that you don't want the fight, and it shows that you are a diva, and it shows that you are being putting it off. That's what I'd say.
So if that fight doesn't happen, all right, if it doesn't happen, what would you do if you was AJ?
I'd have a holiday. I'd go on holiday. I'd chill out. You got nothing to prove to nobody. He's mandatory. I think he's going to have to fight. Povetkin.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's seen after watching that tonight. He got tagged by Pricey today, and obviously Pricey got put to sleep. But he got tagged from Pricey, and if I was Dillian White, I'd take him out. I'll take him on. But Dillian White will beat him. And don't get me wrong, Povetkin he looks militant. There's no two ways about it, but he's 38. I think Dillian White and Parker's a good fight as well.
Yeah, I'll definitely love to see that. And now watching it, I wouldn't know who to call because he's proven that he can take a bang. Now. So that would be a fantastic fight. I'd love to see that fight.
And I would love to see Big Baby Miller get in there with these guys.
I think he'll get his chance.
He needs to, and I think he's with Eddie Hearn now, so which is all good. But going back to the point, where do you see it going next? What would you be saying to
Well, he shouted out Fury as well, but I think Fury's just not ready yet to. Well, I'm not the judge of that, right? But I just don't think he needs a couple of fights or at least one fight to get back into it.
I think Josh was quite clever. I think he knows that for him, the only two fights that make sense now. He's got all the belts. The only fight is Wilder to unify the division. And Fury because it sells, because it's what everyone wants. But also he knows that if I take Matey now and call him out, and Fury says no, he looks like Fury's the one that's doesn't fancy it. But let's be honest, if you're Fury, you're not going to take that fight straight away because you're not ready.
The thing is, you could also take a AJ versus Dylan White too. I think that would still get a lot of attention. That would sell out a lot and make money.
Yeah, it would. But I don't think if I'm Anthony Joshua, I'm like, don't need it. Don't need that fight.
No, I just think about it. I get what you're saying.
Listen, we love Dillian White. We're Team Dillian, right? Listen, we got a lot of respect for every fight because to get in the ring and do what you do is unbelievable. But we've been backing Dillian White. Especially you're a massive Dillian White fan, right? Dillian White is one of those, and Big Baby Miller falls into that bracket as well. Is a fight that no one needs in their life, bruv. No one needs that fight because they're like, you know what? this guy's going to give me headaches, but I don't need that.
Well, I think he still needs to be tested yet. Maybe Miller. I think he still needs to be tested, definitely. He hasn't really had any big fights. He needs to fight some of those guys who are upcoming. So let's quickly just touch on the undercard of the event. We saw Price. Now, for me, we said this from before. Whoever arranged this fight, who was involved in this, are you really looking after the well-being of Price? Because this was always going to be a dangerous fight. Now, he's low on confidence as it is. I don't care what anyone says. From his previous fights, he's low on confidence. And you to throw him into that fight, that we could have predicted that was going to happen possibly.
I think whoever made that fight has ended Price's career tonight, unfortunately. And hopefully, and this sounds horrible because you never want to tell someone to quit doing something that they love or whatever, but no one needs to see that today. That was a sickening knockout.
It was hard to watch.
It's hard to watch. Again, like I said, Liverpool fans, and he's a big Liverpool fan, and he's coming across as one of the nice guys and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, Tyson Fury giving him best wishes. Tony Bellew was giving him hugs and stuff before, but everything felt wrong for me. Everything felt really wrong, and I think it was just such a shame to see that happen. But listen, all the best. Hopefully he's okay. He walked out the ring and stuff, but he took some sick shots, and it was.
So, do you reckon it is the end for you?
I hope it is. There's no one needs to see. No one wants to see someone like that. Get hurt like that. Unfortunately.
Yeah, when it was that flush punch on him, and he was basically just defenseless. It was hard to watch, and I agree with my brother. I think Price. I think that's it for me. That's it for Price because now there's more levels above that, and you don't want to see him go above that.
Yeah, and also listen, you could go back and probably he'd beat the Sextons and all these guys in the domestic level, but you've done that. You've done it. Commonwealth. I'm pretty sure he's done the Commonwealth. You've got nothing to prove at that level. Then the next level is the world level, and
Do you reckon he'll want to carry on to being a gatekeeper though, for other people?
Mate, I tell you what, to get clocked like that, if you're a gatekeeper, you got to take the fights like Povetkin because they're going to be wanting to keep busy. Do you know what I mean? The difference between Chizora's, he's a little bit more harder to hit because he's short and he's probably a good gatekeeper. With this guy's, I don't know, man. Listen, for me, I don't want to see that again, mate. Fucking hell. Big fan. I like you, obviously with the whole Liverpool connection and Liverpool fans and that sort of stuff. And you are one of the good guys by all accords. I haven't personally met the bloke, but that was hard to watch today.
Very good wins for the likes of Josh Kelly and Burnett. I mean, there was a lot of talk around these fighters, and Burnett's obviously, he's proven that he can I guess compete at that level.
Fair play, it's $1 million crawler.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah. I think some good wins there for our boys there. I think that's one thing I have to say. British boxing right now. Phew. We're actually just bossing it.
No, we're not bossing it.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not. There needs to be more world titles in the UK to say that we're bossing it. But the crop of fighters that we've got and what they're doing...
In comparison to other countries, are we not bossing boxing? That's in my opinion.
Where are the belts? They're in the States, right? The majority of the belts are in the States or like Eastern Europe. So that's what I'm saying. Look at the big names that are knocking about in the divisions. A lot of the belts are in the States. It is what it is. But as I said, the way that it's going, it's never going to be an overnight thing. But the more options you have, the more fish you have in the sea, the more chance there is for them to make it stick. So hopefully, there's more world titles to show for it.
This video up, we had a number of different comments from people in our video up to this fight about our prediction. There's a lot of, Kiwis, a lot of Parker fans that were angry and just throwing all kinds of hate, racist shit, all kinds of stuff. But I'll just put out some of the comments that people mentioned just to, to reach out and get back to these guys. Because I said, if you're going to back what you're going to say, come back to this video and watch this video and tell us, your opinion on it. So somebody mentioned here that we had limited boxing knowledge and they felt that, Parker was going to knock Joshua out. What would you, say to that?
Listen, all I'd say to people is, listen, firstly, I'm all for it, yeah? Any comments, anything you got to say, give it. Listen, at the end of the day, as soon as you put yourself out there like this, you're going to expect it. That's absolutely fine. And we've got no qualms with that. Keep it coming. It's all about debates. Everyone's got an opinion. Opinions like assholes. Everyone's got one, right? Keep them coming. Not a problem. But the only thing I would say is, if you've got an opinion and you want to make a point, back it up. Give it some substance. Yeah. We said it from day dot. We do not see how Parker's going to win this fight. If someone asked me who's going to win the fight, boom, I told you straight away, Joshua, and I told you why. Why I thought he was going to win it. Disprove me. Never been. No one never disproved me. So all I want to hear, I want to see you lot come back. All the people that have said, oh yeah, you're wrong, you don't know what you're talking about, Joshua's not good, this, not that. Talk to me now.
So next comment someone mentioned was bodybuilder physique. Now, I just think, forget his physique. He proved today that he doesn't just gas. It's not just appearance. The guy can actually box. So the people that probably haven't seen AJ as much as we have growing up or whatever, have a look at the way he boxed that fight. Do you know what I mean? It's not just appearance. He actually backs it with his boxing and his fists and the way he managed to fight.
Listen, people say bodybuilder physique. I'm sure if you said to Joseph Parker, would you reckon you want that physique? He'll be like, yeah, I'll take that physique. And if he could box like that and have 4 belts and be undefeated in however many fights and, you know, earning as much money, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I'm pretty sure that every boxer would want it. So
the next one, you UK boys know shit about Samoa Warrior. Now, I'm not going to doubt that this guy's a warrior. He proved that
he's a warrior. He took some bangs.
He took some serious bangs.
Your boy took some beats, but you know, he stayed in there.
But that's the thing. I think there's one thing being a warrior and there's one thing being able to get out of a very tricky situation. Like we said before, Joshua used his attributes very well and, you know, he wasn't going to get
And listen, no one expected this to be an easy fight. So no one said it was going to be, you know, straightforward. He's going to walk through him. I actually thought he was going to knock him out, but he didn't. But you can't, you know, and as I said, the one thing I will say about Parker after this fight is that he showed to me how strong he actually was. So that point is valid. You know, he was a warrior and he did come in and take. But a warrior isn't someone that takes shots. A warrior that is someone that goes to war. He didn't go to war. He couldn't go to war because he wasn't good enough.
The next one was, we already touched already, AJ Hype Train. As my brother said, it's no hype train here. We do see flaws in AJ and we see that he can be beaten. But at the end of the day, this is facts. Just go and look at the records. Go and look at the 4 belts. There is no hype train here, right? So,
and the thing is, he's beaten everyone that's be there to beat. You know, in front of him to beat, he's beaten them. So you can't turn around and be like, oh, it's just, you know, he's been protective and anything like that. Listen, the belts are there. He's taken them off these people, you know, and he's taken the belts off different people. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like it's one person held all the belts and I'll take them off him. No disrespect to Tyson Fury because he got the man who was the man and he beat him. But these belts have been divided in the division, so he's had to go out and beat different styles, different people at such a tender age in boxing terms. So.
Someone mentioned here, Parker is levels above AJ, more to boxing than speed and power. Talk to you boys when Parker has the 4 belts. So that clearly hasn't happened. So he doesn't have the 4 belts. And yes, there is more to boxing than just speed and power. And I think AJ proved that as well with his skill within the ring. It wasn't just speed and power. And he also showed that he can go all the way.
Come on, man. Do you know what I mean? Come on, like, you know, that's fine. You backed it. You've made a point and you've backed it as to why you think he was going to win. But now I'd love this person to come back now and say, you know what, fair play. You boys called it, respect, because that's your opinion. There's more to it than this and that. But what did you think that Parker had? Speed with power. That's the only things that people came back to potentially say that he had speed and power
movement, yeah.
and head movement. There's more to boxing than it, and it was proved tonight. The range, you couldn't get into range, couldn't break that gap down. Couldn't bridge the gap between them too. So I don't know, man. I think some people, we were on some sort of bandwagon. I think you boys that were Parker fans got on a bandwagon because you thought we finally got a fight to talk about and shout about, and he ain't good enough. Sorry.
Another one here. You guys know nothing about boxing. Once again, proven wrong. Joseph will outbox AJ with speed and movement. Your boy gasses. So the gasses is flawed.
Right. Well, no, you just flip that back. Listen, that's your opinion, that's fine, and I appreciate that, because that is a valid point to a certain extent, because people thought he gassed against Klitschko, so you can only go by what you've seen in that fight. Now, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Do you think he gassed today? Do you think that he was off it? Do you think Parker potentially gassed? You know, that's what I'm saying. That point doesn't bother me, because I think that's valid. You've come back with something because you think that's the case, but I personally think that today Joshua disproved people to say, look, you know, he could have gone on more. He was the first one off the chair. He was straight in his face, and he stayed quite come forward. So yeah, you know.
One person here who actually went on and put a bet on Parker winning, he was so sure. He's said all kinds of strange stuff. His main points were that he goes, your boy's got a glass jaw and he gasses. So the glass jaw, he took some punches in there. I didn't see him really phase really.
Listen, if you think he's got a glass jaw, right, and that's what you lot think, and that was probably what was being circulated in the media for Parker, and this is what was going to be his thing. Why didn't your boy try and land on his glass jaw then? Because I didn't see him once try and cut that gap down and try and go for it and just open up. Why is that? Because he knew that if I open up, I'm going down.
He threw a few big swings in there, tried to take a few risks.
So,
but
that's what I'm saying. If that was genuinely the belief that he gasses and he's got a glass jaw, he wasn't trying to outwork him. He didn't try and cut the gap. Didn't try and keep him honest. AJ controlled the distance and the where he was in the ring, so he didn't even try and make him gas. and he didn't try and butt them on this glass jaw. So I don't, all I'm saying is these were all things that were circulated around and a common theme, and the guy did nothing to try and push on both those weaknesses, as far as I'm concerned.
The final one is a special shout out to a viewer called Rich Coburn, who was a Kiwi, and he actually talked sense. He actually said that his heart wanted Parker to win, but his brain was telling him AJ. And he said about the size, reach and power was the thing that AJ had in his favour, and if he used it to the fullest, it would win. And that's exactly what's happened. So a big shout out to him, because he was a Kiwi, and he was talking complete sense in our opinion, and that's how it's worked out. So everyone, I know it's a pretty long video, so I apologise for that, but let us know your views on the fight, and the people that obviously talked a lot of shit, respond back and let us know what you thought now about AJ. Has anything changed? And what do you think about Parker? And who should, I guess, AJ fight next? And that's it really. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe.